everyone, welcome back to Doozy Talks with Susie, where we keep it real about fitness, nutrition, mindset, and how to live in sync with your body and your purpose. So let me just say this up front. If you're bloated, moody, puffy, or inflamed, this episode is for you. I spent years trying to fix my hormones, my skin, my metabolism, and guess what? The real root cause wasn't just in my ovaries or my diet or my stress. It was in my gut. And the wild part is, I didn't even have traditional gut issues. No IBS diagnosis, no Crohn's, just vague symptoms like bloating, bad breath, mood swings, breakouts, fatigue, and no one could figure it out. Turns out, your gut controls way more than digestion. So in today's episode, I'm sharing how your gut bacteria affect your mood, hormones, and weight. The DNA clues that helped me figure out what was wrong, the foods I had let go of, even the healthy ones, and how I finally found relief. Let's get into it. Here's what most people don't realize. Your gut isn't just a food processing machine. It's an entire ecosystem that affects your whole body. Your gut bacteria help make serotonin, your feel-good mood chemical, estrogen metabolites that control PMS, acne, and fat distribution, short-chain fatty acids that regulate inflammation and metabolism, and when your gut is inflamed or overgrown with the wrong microbes, it throws everything off. For example, if you ever felt like you wake up puffy and inflamed no matter what you eat, you're constantly bloated or gassy, especially after healthy foods, you feel anxious or low for no clear reason, you might be dealing with an imbalanced gut microbiome. Now, I'm not talking about trendy gut cleanses or green juice detoxes. I'm talking about deep imbalances like low Akkermansia, which protects the gut lining, too much sulfur bacteria, which can come from cruciferous veggies, garlic, eggs, or even something like SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth, which can trigger sugar cravings, brain fog, and bloating. This is where DNA testing helped me connect the dots. By the way, if you haven't done it yet, you should get your DNA tested. This is the most important thing I think a person can do for their health because you only have to take it once. It's never got to be checked again. And it's like reading the owner's manual for how your body functions. Every human body is different. And when you look at your genetics, you look at your DNA, it shows exactly what your body needs and doesn't need. And you're able to get a more precise picture of how to take care of yourself. So here's what happened when I ran my DNA and gut health panels. I had CBS gene mutations, which made me sensitive to sulfur-rich foods like garlic, onions, broccoli, Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. Oh, and asparagus. I also love asparagus. I used to love garlic and onions too, but that would explain why my stomach was always a mess because I was eating them. I had low predicted levels of beneficial gut bacteria like Akkermansia and Prevotella, which meant my gut lining was more vulnerable. I also had signs of FODMAP intolerance, which explained why beans, grains, and some veggies made me feel horrible. I eat 5 bites and that's all I can eat because my stomach is going to bloat and cramp and I'll feel miserable for several hours. So this is when it all started to make sense. So here's what I was experiencing. Bad breath, even when I brushed my teeth, and it would be there for 24 hours. It was awful and embarrassing. Puffy face, smelly gas, bloating after eating healthy food, brain fog after meals, a constant feeling of being inflamed, anxious, or just emotionally off. And no matter how clean I ate, I didn't feel good on the inside. I felt kind of gross on the inside. Maybe that was just all mental though. That may have just been a mental thing. Anyways, what made it more confusing was that I was doing all the right things. At that time, I was eating plant-based food. I was drinking lemon water. I was having garlic and kale and raw vegetables. But for my body, that was the perfect storm. I was literally feeding the bad bacteria in my gut and making my symptoms worse. I wasn't broken though. I was just eating against my genetics and didn't realize it. So I'll be honest. This part took a lot of trial and error, but here's what finally started to work for me. I simplified my diet. I shifted towards a low plant, high protein diet, mostly meat, water, and healthy fats. I phased out foods high in sulfur, lectins, and oxalates, which was quite painful to do because there's so many in there. And I have not a pain tolerance, but there's a level of tolerance for some foods. And so I had to figure out which ones my body responded to and how much over time. I also listened to how my body responded and not what the diet book said because I've read so many books on nutrition and I've read books about the gut and I've read books about the brain. And so one thing after another of how this all works and I'm reading opposing points of views, trying to figure out where does the truth lie. Because you have people who say vegan all the way, and then you have people who say animal all the way. And I'm like, I don't know what the truth is, because everybody's saying, I'm hearing people from opposite points of view. What I figured out was basically just eat food that's minimally processed. That's what it comes down to. So I gave my gut a break from the fermentable fibers that were feeding the wrong bugs. And because I gave my body that little break, now I can have some of this stuff to an extent. Before, I'd eat 5 bites of beans or rice or spinach or kale or almost anything plant-based except blueberries and carrots. And at that point, I would eat a couple bites and my stomach would start hurting. And I'm like, my body can't handle it yet. Now I can have some and it's not as bad now that I've given my body a good amount of a break so that it can work on healing itself. And then I use targeted supplements. I started taking, I'm going to butcher this word, guys, Saccharomyces boulardii. And this helps reduce candida and it supports gut resilience. I take it every morning, rain or shine, because I need my gut to be as healthy as possible. I added the calcium D-glucarate to support the estrogen detox through the gut. I said this in another video. I don't take calcium D-glucarate every day though. I take it at targeted times of the month to follow along with my cycle so that I don't throw my hormones off throughout my cycle. I also started using the taurine and glycine to support the bile flow and soothe the gut lining. And I occasionally will use activated charcoal to help bind toxins when I get a flare-up. Then I focused on supporting my nervous system. I learned that gut healing wasn't just about food, it was about calming my body. So I focused on good sleep, slowing down, deep breathing, stretching, because stretching helps with the nervous system. When you're stressed, your body stops digesting properly. So you want to make sure that your body is finding a way to wind down and relax. Then I started trusting my symptoms. I stopped gaslighting myself. If a food made me bloat, even if it was healthy, I trusted that. At one point, for a long time, many years, I wouldn't trust that. I was trying to trust what I had heard from other experts on the matter instead of doing what my body was saying I needed to do. Then I started paying attention to mood shifts after meals. And that's the craziest thing because I thought that was just made up stuff. But your mood really can change after a meal because of how it affects your gut. I looked at my skin, my breath, body odor as messages, not problems. That's actually part of why I cut out the milk. I've had this constantly very dry skin around my hands. And I'm wondering if I cut out the dairy completely, if that's going to help clear that up. It wasn't a perfect overnight fix, and I honestly am still working on it. But I have seen huge changes. My bloating went away, my mood became more stable, my brain fog lifted, I stopped waking up feeling puffy, my energy was calmer and more consistent, and I finally felt like my body was working with me, not against me. So if you've been trying to fix your hormones, your skin, your energy, or your weight, and nothing is working, I want you to pause and ask, what's going on in my gut? Because you can't heal hormones on top of inflammation. You can't lose fat in a body that thinks it's under attack. And you can't feel mentally clear when your gut is stuck in survival mode. Your mood, your metabolism, your hormones, they all start in your gut. And the good news, you can heal. You don't have to live bloated, anxious, and inflamed. Start simple. Start by listening. Start by supporting your body based on your unique genetics, not the latest trend of whatever somebody's saying is a cool thing to do. If this video helped you, I'd love it if you hit left a comment and subscribe for more content like this. And if you want to see what I eat in a day or how I support my gut and hormones through DNA-based nutrition, I've got more videos on the way. Until next time, be kind to your gut. She's been trying to protect you this whole time.